One Piece Chapter 1098 is just around the corner for the fans now, and it is clear that this chapter is, quite easily, one of the most horrifying ones that Oda has ever drawn in the story. In a flashback that is predominantly about the lives of slaves under the Celestial Dragons, fans should have known that Oda would showcase the depravity of these monsters in much greater detail than ever before, and that is precisely what ended up happening. One Piece Chapter 1098 is, quite easily, the darkest chapter that Oda has drawn in the story, and it shows the horrific nature of the Celestial Dragons in greater detail. What fans expected from One Piece Chapter 1098. When One Piece Chapter 1097 ended, fans, as always, started theorizing about what the next chapter would be about. That is the beauty of One Piece, as every single fan comes together and starts theorizing about what they think will happen next and how the story will progress from there onwards. One Piece has always been that way, and that is precisely why Game Rant also discusses their own ideas pertaining to the upcoming chapters as well. This is one of the many ways in which Oda has made sure to connect people from different parts of the world, and it is surely very beautiful. Given that One Piece Chapter 1097 ended with news of the kidnapping of the character that is Jinny, fans knew that One Piece Chapter 1098 had to do something to remedy that. Jinny was a very important character in the flashback, and even though fans knew that she might end up dying at some point later down the line, given that she's nowhere to be seen in the current timeline of the story, they expected her to be rescued from her kidnapper. The vast majority of the fans believed that Jinny would be saved by none other than Kuma, who is her sweetheart and the person that she dearly loves. Kuma also loves Jinny, and even though he does not want to get married to her, these two characters are the most special to each other. As such, fans expected Kuma and Dragon to make their move and rescue Jinny from her captivity, and, from there onwards, Kuma-Jinny's relationship would then be progressed further. It is safe to say that that is the farthest from anything that happened in One Piece Chapter 1098. Jinnys Tragic and Horrifying Life of One Piece 1098. One Piece Chapter 1098 is solely focused on Jinny, Kuma, and Bonnie. Jinny is the primary focus of the chapter in the first half, and her story takes a very dark turn. In fact, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that One Piece Chapter 1098 is the darkest that Oda has ever drawn in his manga. Fans always knew that the Celestial Dragons were evil and the most depraved people to have ever lived. However, their depravity was never put in this much focus as it has been in the flashback, and especially in One Piece Chapter 1098. As fans know, Jinny was kidnapped in the previous chapter. In One Piece Chapter 1098, it is revealed that Jinny is officially a slave once again. This in itself is horrifying enough, given that Jinny was a former slave. For a former slave to return to slavery is absolutely heartbreaking. Jinny already ended up suffering quite a lot at the hands of the Celestial Dragons when she was 9 years old all the way up to the age of 13. Now, she finally believed that she was free and had started to live life happily again. For the first time, she was eating and sleeping peacefully and sharing her love with people around her. However, that life wasn't to be for long. Jinny was turned into a slave once again, and what is worse is that she was forcibly married to one of the Celestial Dragons. Fans do not know who this Celestial Dragon is just yet, however. He forced Jinny to marry her and abused her in all sorts of ways for a period of 2 years. Jinny's death in One Piece Chapter 1098. During the 2 years, Jinny had to endure a lot, and this is once again highlighted in One Piece Chapter 1098. She endures a lot of physical as well as sexual abuse from the Celestial Dragon whom she was married to, and, eventually, she even contracts a deadly disease. It isn't known what this disease was before she died, however. Because of this disease, Jinny is released and left to die. She is no longer a slave, however, only when the Celestial Dragons have absolutely no more use for her. She is expelled from the Holy Land of Mariajoy, and in her dying breath, she manages to contact Kuma one last time again. It is absolutely heartbreaking that the only person that she was thinking of all this time was Kuma, her beloved. Understandably, she wanted to say goodbye to him. However, Kuma managed to track her down in the meantime and jumped to her location immediately. Unfortunately, it was already too late at this point. Jinny had already suffered too much in life and had nothing more left to live for. Her life was taken away from her, her freedom was stripped from her, and every goal she was working towards was utterly crushed by the depravity of the Celestial Dragons. To make things worse, worse, she was forced to bear a child by the celestial dragon that she was married to, and this child turned out to be none other than Bonnie. Jinny ends up dying in front of Kuma, who then decides to raise Bonnie as his own daughter. Bonnie then grows up, and the story focuses on her quite a lot. However, more tragedies will befall this character as well as Kuma, who is the focus of the flashback as the series progresses. One Piece has always had many dark themes, however, they have never been shown and discussed in as much detail as in One Piece chapter 1098. This chapter was a horrifying read for the fans, and certainly one that helped them see better what the evil of the celestial dragons is, and how much they need to be removed from power and utterly destroyed, root and stem. In fact, for quite a lot of readers, this chapter might even be triggering. This is a very shocking chapter, and certainly One Piece's darkest yet. However, this doesn't even scratch the surface of how evil and cruel the celestial dragons can be. They are monsters in the shape of humans. They need to be utterly destroyed by Dragon, the Revolutionary Army, and, of course, the protagonist of the series, Luffy. However, it remains to be seen how many lives they can save, and if significant characters, such as Kuma, can be rescued from their horrible conditions. And in other news, One Piece chapter 1098 reveals Bonnie's real age. The Worst Generation is a group of pirates who gathered together in Saboti Archipelago before the Paramount War. Every one of them is important to the story of One Piece, but as always, there is a discrepancy. Some of the individuals are more crucial to the overall story, while the involvement of others is limited to a single arc. Jewelry Bonnie falls in the former category. She was still in Saboti Archipelago when Whitebeard and Ace were killed. At the time, Bonnie could be seen crying, which led many fans to speculate that she had some kind of connection to either of the two One Piece characters. It wasn't until the Egghead Island arc that the actual reason came to light. Bonnie was sad because she saw Kuma's condition in Marineford. She couldn't bear to see her father in such terrible condition, so she decided to head to the New World to find the person responsible for Kuma's present state. Bonnie's destination was Egghead Island, the home of Dr. Vegapunk. However, she was caught by Blackbeard and handed over to the Marines. Bonnie ended up in captivity, but somehow managed to escape. On her way to the island, Bonnie was caught in an eddy, and she would have remained there if it weren't for the Straw Hat Pirates. They managed to free her, and not long afterward, they learned about her motive. However, Bonnie did not reveal the identity of her father until later, when one of the pacifista was attacking Luffy. What is Bonnie's age? From her actions, Bonnie has always come off as a kid, but her physical form is that of a grown-up. Bonnie's Toshi no Mi confused the audience further, as she could use it to manipulate her age and those around her. As the Egghead arc continued, Oda finally decided to reveal Kuma and Bonnie's past. In Kuma's flashback, Jinny was kidnapped 14 years prior to the current timeline. She was serving as a commander of the Revolutionary Army when a celestial dragon laid eyes on her and forcibly abducted her. He made Jinny his wife, but not long afterward, he left her to die because of her disease. 2 years after her kidnapping, Jinny was able to contact the Revolutionary Army and tell them about her current status. She also told Kuma that she loved him, but he had already teleported to Jinny's location, so he didn't hear it. Sadly, Jinny was already dead when Kuma arrived. He found that Jinny was not alone and actually had a baby. This child was none other than Jewelry Bonnie. Kuma was devastated by Jinny's death, but he promised to raise Bonnie in the best way possible. So, Bonnie was born 12 years before the current timeline, which makes her the youngest member of the Worst Generation. Many characters have called Bonnie a kid, which now makes sense. The first time fans saw her true form was in the Saboti Archipelago arc, when she reverted to her normal age to stop Zoro from cutting down a celestial dragon. In the Egghead arc, after Bonnie was rescued from the eddy, she was in her original form, as she couldn't use her devil fruit powers due to the water. Dr. Vegapunk has stated that Bonnie is a kid multiple times. Bonnie and Kuma's relationship. After Jinny's death, Kuma took care of Bonnie. He kept fighting for the Revolutionary Army, but eventually he decided to quit when Bonnie began to exhibit the same symptoms as her mother. Kuma wanted to devote all her time to Bonnie so that she could be saved. Due to her condition, Bonnie had to stay inside the house, and it led to the kids making fun of her. However, Kuma always reassured her that she was special. The two would often talk about the future, and Kuma would ask Bonnie what places she wanted to visit when she grew up. Unfortunately, Kuma's hopes took a massive hit when a doctor revealed that, at best, Bonnie had another 5 years to live. After the doctor left, Bonnie told Kuma that she had heard everything. She was happy that the disease would be gone by the time she was 10 years old. Kuma realized that Bonnie had overheard only half of the conversation, which is why she believed that she would be cured. Her father had no option but to play along. It is unclear how Kuma managed to cure her disease, but it is highly likely that the world government might have had a cure. Of course, the organization would never let a buccaneer have it, so Kuma may have decided to become a test subject for Vegapunk in exchange for a cure. There is a chance that Bonnie's devil fruit could have saved her and stopped her from aging. However, it would not explain how she would be able to stay outside and not exhibit any of the symptoms. Furthermore, it would mean Bonnie consumed the devil fruit before the age of 10. Comparing both possibilities, it is much likelier that the world government had the cure. It would also explain why the world government mysteriously chased her and wanted to capture her. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.